What's up, everyone, and welcome to Parked Podcast presented by DGA. My name is Mitch Phillips. Joining me is Zach Harrison. In today's episode, it's been a while. We're going to be recapping the entirety of the European swing. We're going to be breaking down every single hole. So I hope you have a cold beer in your hand. We're going to be here for 6.5 hours nonstop, just like Esa-Pekka Tupelo. We're going to cover every single hole. The freaking goat of European commentary. Just kidding. We're not going to do every single hole, but it's going to be a good time. And later, the creators of the very first disc golf in New York City are going to be joining us. Zach was up there, got to play that course, meet those guys. We got Alex and Alex joining us, so shouldn't be confusing at all. But Zach, how you been, dude? It's been a while.
Been too long, man. I've been ducking great.
If you're watching on YouTube, Zach's wearing a duck shirt. Like and subscribe. You're welcome.
Like you said, I had a trip to New York City, visited two of my favorite people in the world, and got to romp around the streets of Queens, the streets of Manhattan.
Just in the streets.
I broke my love for animals for a certain stretch at like 3 a.m. where we would go and get chopped cheeses from the bodega downstairs. Which, if you've never had a chopped cheese, it's like a cheeseburger where everything's now chopped up on a griddle, and they throw some sweet peppers and onions in there, and they put a beautiful sauce on it and serve it on a hero roll. It was worth it, man. Like I thank
For
the
context,
cow.
Zach is vegan, so
yeah,
you didn't just like hate stuff. I started hating animals and I ate all of them.
Yeah, I was very thankful for the cow that gave its life because darn, that stuff was delicious, man.
A moment for that cow. And we're back. I've been doing a lot of random things. I feel like the Olympics has slowly been taking over most people's lives. I was canning beers at the brewery the other day and found myself staring at the screen in the tap room for a good 30 minutes, just watching like windsurfing or something. I don't know. It's like the weirdest sports that you could possibly have that you just like catch your attention. It's like a Winter Olympics a couple years ago that was like curling and everyone was like, it's the greatest thing. And you're like,
chess on ice, man.
Exactly. But the Olympics have been awesome to see. I think it was the men's gymnastics medaled for the first time in like 16 years or something. Wow. So that was cool to see the U.S. Olympic team and the gymnastics doing well. Skateboarding was dope. Najee Houston and Jagger Eaton was super cool to watch. So yeah, I've been enjoying it, but I mean, full honesty though, I've just been watching a lot of Love Island USA. My girlfriend Julia has slowly just helped that take over my life. I don't know how I got there, but if you watch Love Island, it's incredible. It sounds super lame and really just a bunch of whores, but it's not. It's great. I enjoyed it. It was fun. So I cried. You're welcome. Anyway, back to disc golf. What's the last hole that you parked? We are Parked Podcast. We haven't done this in a while. We get going, we forget. But Parked Podcast, last hole that you parked, Mr. Zach.
Yeah, man. Played a really wet round at Central Park, not New York. This is Central Park in Cumming, Georgia. And, you know, man, the rain just was coming. There's a pun there. And it was a lot. But hole 17, nice little downhill, like 420, 430-ish. Just mashed a wraith super straight. And there's some trees you got a hyzer in front of. And I was a little nervous. Crashed. Parked it, tap in, especially on a wet round like that. I felt good getting a clean release off the drive because it's a toss up when it's so wet out there.
Yeah, that course just gets better and better. I think now they have the new baskets out there. They got the turf tee pads. It's just like a little bit too far north of Atlanta. Like it's just a little bit too far. I've always said if that course was 30 minutes south of where it is, it'd be the most played course in the city.
Yeah, 20 minutes from the city would be perfect.
Yeah, it's just a little bit too far north. Yeah. Last hole that I parked was hole 10 at Oregon Park. Was today actually, because there's all the storms and all the rain and it's been just freaking peeing on us out there and just completely unplayable almost every single day that we've been here in Georgia. And we got out a little bit. My good friend Hayden was with me and I parked hole 10, which doesn't happen much, but trees have fallen. They took out 2 trees on this hole and it actually has a gap. They took out that weird tree in the middle that kind of like curved a little bit. So you can actually throw a hyzer flip and it's amazing. And the silver to gold layout, you can actually just throw a straight hyzer and it's like, just checks up. It's awesome. It's definitely going to play easier. But I threw I threw a DGA Riptide, and shout out to disc that's out of production. It is becoming one of my favorite fairway drivers. It's super old. It is like, it says like extra long driver on it, and it's that old gummy plastic. And for me, it's like hyzer flip to just push. And man, it is so comfortable in the hand. It's like faster than a pipeline, slower than a Rogue, but like kind of in that range. And it's just so fun to throw in the woods. So super surprising to me. It's out of production. Bring it back. But I'm really enjoying it. So whole 10 on the Riptide. And let's get into the European swing here. Our producer Gage is holding the Riptide against, dude, that's like a first flight. Please send that to me. We'll talk after, but he's got a first flight Riptide there, old stamp. But yeah, European swing. We'll cover, there's a lot of European swing, but today we're going to talk about Krokol, European Open, and the European Disc Golf Festival, which I actually thought was called the Estonian Disc Golf Festival, but it is in Estonia. And man, I think the biggest thing overarching of all of these tournaments was, what are we doing in America? The level of quality of just tournament overall from spectators. There's thousands, 5,000 plus spectators European Open. We're talking the quality of courses, the scoreboard, stages. The podium at European Disc Golf Festival looked like a freaking F1. They had champagne, they had LED walls, there was smoke machines. I mean, it was insane. It took our sport to an entirely different level, and it honestly made me jealous. So, Zach, what are your thoughts on that, and just the level of what Europe was doing?
Yeah, man, it makes me wonder a little bit about like how much money was being spent on those things, and if it's not possible to just have that like on the tour. I know they've got like some screens and things that they'll put up,
like on holes and whatnot.
Yeah, and a stage that'll be put up. But honestly, what I loved, just one example, European Open hole 1. If they built a really nice little seating area so you can watch your favorite pros tee off, but it's down into the woods, and so they put up a big screen where they had a catch cam, a live catch cam on the hole, so even the players could tee off and just watch their shot.
Yeah,
I'm like, this is incredible. Like, anything to do something like that where it enhances the viewership just a little bit as an individual on a course like that. Like, little things need to be taken in America. Steps need to be taken to start moving in that direction to make it more fun to just be in like one spot, or just to be in that arena, in that area with all those players. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say like what's possible.
We have that like at Maple Hill hole 8. We have it at Des Moines hole 5. Like, we have some of those like kind of like just like bigger like viewing areas, but they freaking teed off from the top levels of an arena, like of like an amphitheater. It was crazy.
Yeah, I get that's like the course, and we don't really have courses that do that in America. but gosh, man, like, talk about using it to their advantage, like creating a space out of what's available. Like, that is what I think Europe is doing so well, because not only are the courses just gorgeous and very well kept, but they're using that space in some of the most beautiful ways imaginable.
For sure. Yeah. Like, and you said it right. They're using that space to the best of its ability, where I feel like so much of disc golf in America is park style golf. And some of even our favorite tournaments. I mean, I was in Des Moines a couple weeks ago, and it's like, that course is incredible, but you zoom out and it's still like a local course in Iowa. Like, it's not, it's a park. It's not like a festival grounds. It's not a one of one. This course is open for this tournament during the year. Like, it's not really there. And I don't know if that's a culture thing or if that's just the way that like disc golf in America has gone. And I wonder if that's possible to get there, or are the tournaments that we're going to be playing going to stay the same, and the tour is not going to change that much because there are so many. When you look at, the European Disc Golf Festival being in Estonia, this is Estonia's only disc golf pro tour event. So they're going to go all out. Like, there's not like a budget saying we got to split this over 20 events for the pro tour. They're going, hey, we're going to get some big things. We're going to make it happen. I mean, one that comes to mind that's just shocking to me every year is Ford. Ford is a huge supporter of European disc golf. And Finland is special. Like, it's crazy. There's a car, there's a Mustang, like, on a tee pad.
Yeah.
Like, Ford is an American company. Like, what, it's just like, what are we doing something wrong? Are we just pushing in the wrong direction for certain sponsors? I don't know. It's interesting to see.
I mean, you also saw like Nike was sponsoring a bunch of holes.
I saw that around the bottom of the tees and stuff. It was super
yeah,
cool.
yeah, and like, I mean, I know it was Nike Estonia,
Right.
so it was like a specific branch of Nike. But I was wondering, did Kristen like get that in, or was Nike Estonia already like vying their way into the disc golf world? Or was it like, hey, Kristen, we're going to sponsor you, and then now we're just going to start sponsoring a lot of things?
Yeah. Which, I mean, I think either way, I think that's a good thing. If one player gets sponsored, it brings in, other sponsors that go, okay, we want to sponsor Kristen. This is in Estonia, so we're going to take our sponsors with her and forward them to the tournament as a whole or to other players. And I mean, well, while we're talking about, let's talk about Kristen being in Estonia, and we'll talk about the rest of the players as we kind of continue here, and just overall our point of view being here in America as well. I didn't get to watch a lot of FPO, and I think that's difficult because of the time difference. Where MPO, they're teeing off at 8:30, 9 o'clock.
So you can watch it live.
Right. It was great.
Watching it live. Yeah.
Hard to watch it live, but I think Kristen, it's almost not that she didn't check out. She definitely still played at such a high level. She was coming off of, it was a broken rib or like fractured rib or something.
Yeah,
It was
something with the
something
ribs.
like that, with like a fall. So I mean, obviously still recovering from an injury, but she played great. But it wasn't dominant. It wasn't this winning by 10 plus strokes that we're used to seeing, especially in Estonia. Like, it wasn't this full push to the top. Like, she was multiple strokes behind at some of these tournaments in this European swing.
Right. And a lot of it was really just the consistency, right? Like, she shot 9 down and then she shot 1 down.
Yeah.
This is at the European Open. So same course.
And then third round,
8-stroke difference.
Yeah.
New course. Then she shoots 8 over.
Oh.
And then second round on that same course, 5 down.
And literally her and Evelina switched. I mean, Evelina shoots 9 over final round, where, Kristen shoots 8 over third round. So it was this back and forth, and I don't feel like there was much consistency at all. But I think European Open, a lot of that was because of the weather. It was absolutely ridiculous weather. The MPO had to play round 3, round 2. It got pushed to the next morning. They had to play round 3 in the afternoon. Very similar to other major that we had this year, Champions Cup. There was a screenshot I had from Adam Hammis on his story, and this quote just shocked me of the level of what they were dealing with. He put on his story, said, "European Open 2024 round 2, what an absolute nightmare. I had a lightning delay when we went in, came back out to play 1 hole, another lightning delay, came back in, went back out to play another 2 holes, another lightning delay, went back out." And he said, and this is him talking, I just quoted it, "I've played 2 holes in the last 3.5 hours. Each lightning delay, I'm walking 3/4 of a mile back to the car and back. I've walked over 3.5 miles and played not even 3.5 holes." Like, it was exhausting. Like,
dude, that's just miserable.
It's absolutely miserable. So yes, there was that going on. The FPO kind of avoided it a little bit, but still had pretty brutal conditions to deal with. Kristen did end up winning the European Open. She does win a major this year, but I think it was just, I don't know, watching the best player in the world shoot that far over par was wild. When last year and years and every year previously, they've played the beast round after round after round, and she's shredded.
Yeah.
So it's definitely weird to see that happen. But I mean, kudos to Evelina for pushing her, to Silva, to Missy. I mean, they were pushing the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. Like, a lot of jockeying, position wise. There was so many ups and downs for so many of these players. And honestly, I'm just looking at some stats right now, and it makes sense, but like, Kristen, Silva, Evelina, and Katie Alsalu all are tied for the fewest number of bogeys, like single bogeys, at 14. 14 out of 72, which does seem high for Kristen. That's a almost 20% bogey rate.
Yeah. Overall, though, we talk, Kristen feeling like she was off her game. She still wins a major. She still wins Crocole, and she ends up not doing too hot at the final one here at the European Disc Golf Festival. Where did she finish? She finished 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah, averaging 958 for the event. So kind of weird, but shout out to Missy Gannon for going to a playoff with Evelina and winning there as well. 13 under took him to the playoff, and Missy took it just in the first hole. So yeah.
Honestly, let me talk about that just for a second.
Yeah, go
Kind
for
of
it.
kind of a bummer, honestly, man. Like Missy and Evelina both threw great shots, both had good upshots, and Evelina was so good at the comeback.
Hmm.
Like she was working from pretty far down. And the last 10 holes, she was 7 down through the last 10
Jeez.
holes to tie Missy, as Missy was kind of flopping at the very end,
Mhm.
not able to get any birdies. And then they go to this playoff, and Evelina smashes the disc, gets it maybe 3 meters from the pin, and hits the dang band on her putt for birdie. And so it's like everything you were doing, she was hitting like circle one
Yeah.
edge over and over again. Yeah, she hit a circle two putt, circle's edge putt, middle of the circle putt, and like nothing was missing until the playoff when all the pressure was on her again.
Mm.
And I just hate to see it, man, because I thought, wow, working from behind,
Yeah.
Evelina's cruising. If she doesn't feel the pressure, she's cruising. And then the
Yeah.
moment the
8
pressure
under
hits,
final round. I
get the
mean,
moment the
crushing.
pressure hits, banned to lose it.
Mm.
It was a bum. I thought she had it, dude. I thought
Yeah.
she had it. I'm happy for Missy, but I thought Evelina was gonna win it.
Yep, and just to know that, like, her putting confidence is coming back, and I think
Yes.
that's a really big thing heading into Worlds is in 3 weeks, which is insane. We'll talk about
Shock.
that at the end of the podcast, but this course that we're heading into is long, it's wooded, it's very difficult. Players like Evelina come to mind immediately
Yeah.
for the World Championships this year, and I think we get a good preview of, the European swing as a whole, of what Worlds is gonna look like next year, which is exactly what we got. The combination of Tampere and the Beast going back to European Open. I mean, we've talked about it on this podcast many times. One of my favorite world championships, Holy shot, shot her around the world, all that James Conrad stuff out of it, was one of my favorite worlds because of the disc golf courses they played and the differences of them, wooded to open. Like, Worlds next year is going to be insane. It's going to be absolutely incredible to see, now that players have an understanding of what Tampere looks like. It was hard. It was
Yeah.
extremely, extremely difficult. And no one beat that record. Was it -8? I think it was. That was the course record. Some came close. I believe one or two people tied it, but did not get taken down. Tampere is incredible. That property is absolutely absurd. But someone who did just have a dominant time and has now shot course records at what, the last 3 events or something. Ricky
Mhm.
Wysocki.
My guy.
Um, Dude shoots course record at Krokol, shoots course record at European Open, finally beats it 13 under. 12 under was what it's been for so long. You think back to like Eagle and Paul battling it out, still only shooting 12. And then he shoots 16 under at Estonia, which is the 3rd highest rated round in history. Behind Macbeth at Memorial, doesn't count. Memorial's crap. So technically 2nd best, because what Macbeth did at Maple Hill that year is just, it's never going to be beat. It was one of
Probably
the
won't get
greatest rounds
touched.
ever. No, but I think it was, what is it, 11-19, 11-18 or something is what it finished out at. Let me pick it up here.
Ricky's? Yeah, 11-19.
Yeah, ridiculous. He averages 1073 for the
Unbelievable,
tournament,
dude.
and down the stretch ends up only winning by 1 to Paul Macbeth. So Ricky, I think Ricky's the best player in the European swing. Yes, he lost on the last hole at the European Open to Gannon in one of the most ridiculous ways ever. We were texting about this in real time, and we got to go back. We'll talk about it here. Gannon is the luckiest player ever. It's unreal.
Yes.
Dude, on hole 17, I mean, there was a couple other times, but hole 17 specifically, he yeeted that forehand. It was so
shanked,
far
dude.
out of bounds, like not even trying to stay in bounds.
It was stable.
Right, it was stable, but it was 40 feet in the air and still had so much pace behind it. It hits the freaking light post and goes in bounds. But then he did hit the top. It did roll out of bounds, so he ended up getting the stroke anyway. But that would have been double.
Yep.
And Ricky would have gone in with a stroke lead. Ends up Ricky skips on the upshot. I mean, not the best drive. We'll give him two in there, but why is the stage so freaking close? It's almost in this. It's like in circle 2 or like on the
Yes.
edge of circle 1 almost. He
Yes.
skips, hits the edge of the stage, and then
The
so
stage,
frustrating.
so my opinion, like cool to have the stage on hole 18. Like it makes sense. Everyone's going to be crowded around. You're going to put your
For
podium
sure.
guys on the stage. That's cool. You have the scorecard. That's cool. But there needs to be a buffer,
Mhm.
right? There needs to be the OB stakes, maybe 10 feet, and then you put a stage.
Right.
But having the stage as the OB,
It literally was what, not even a meter off of it.
it's really stupid.
Mhm. I mean, that'd be like, I mean, we talked about Formula One already with the way the podium looks in Estonia. Like, that would be like, oh, the podium is actually in turn 1 and hope you don't go off and crash into the podium. Like, no, the podium is in like over the pit lane usually, or it's like, on the backside of it. So they're like,
Yeah.
there's intentionality knowing we're going to have people surround this. That's the energy we want when we crown our champion. Like, I love the look of it. We want the champagne. We want the excitement.
Yep.
I love the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Shout out to the guys that are putting the numbers on that scoreboard all day, by the way.
Seriously, numbers on every single
every
person.
it's like top 25 or something, I think it is.
It's a lot, man.
It's
It's a
so
lot.
many. So, but yeah, that's some crap. You don't want to see it. I'd rather see him skip in bounds because he was going to be parked. I'd
Yeah.
rather see him skip in bounds and go to a playoff.
Let's go to a playoff, man. That's way more exciting.
Mhm.
As a viewer, you don't want to see someone get stopped by artificial out of bounds
Mm-mm.
ever. You don't ever want to see that.
No, definitely not. And I think that's a frustrating way to see a major end. I think they learn from it, hopefully. Although that stage has been there for many, many, many years. I don't think it's going to change. But in the end, Ricky does shoot the course record. And to shoot the course record in back to back to back weekends is crazy.
Sick.
Ricky, if you would have told me the best player coming out of the European swing was going to be Ricky Wysocki, I would have been like, I could see it, maybe. But dude, his season has been insane. It's been absolutely ridiculous. If he would have gotten this major, I think it would have been pushing towards he's the best player in the world.
For sure.
And it's definitely a battle between he and Gannon. But let's not forget about Paul Macbeth. Let's not forget that he came out of nowhere in Europe and gets a 3rd place European Open, 2nd place at the European Disc Golf Festival. Like, European Open, we expect it. Paul's always in the mix. But to continue that and to continue pushing at the level that he was, no one was expecting that, I don't think.
And he was just playing consistent golf, man. Like European Open, he was 5 down, 7 down, 9 down, 9 down. So like every round he was getting a little bit better. He was super clean, like barely any bogeys. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, 7 bogeys throughout the 4 rounds. But still, man, super sick. Like just to see him come back and to turn it on for Europe. I don't know what it is about Paul Macbeth, but the guy just turns it on for Europe. And I know everyone wants the European Open. Like that's some people even more than Worlds. They're like, I'd rather take.
It's the biggest.
Being
biggest
a world
crowd.
champion is one, but it's the biggest crowd. It's like one of the coolest stages. It's some of the most beautiful courses that they get to play. And yeah, man, it's just crazy to watch. But I don't want to take anything away from what Gannon does. Honestly,
no, definitely not.
The dude was cruising, and yes, he was getting some of the luckiest breaks, like the roller that split through the trees that are literally 6 inches apart, or like he shanked a shot into the ground and then happened to get like a skip off of a root and into circle 1, like little things like that, where I'm just like, how is he getting away with being bad right now? But then he steps up and cans 15-meter putts with death behind the basket, and I'm like, well, you can't take it away from him because he's just closing. He's closing every opportunity he gets. He closes it.
Yeah, and I think you hit it there on the head. Is he's closing every opportunity he gets, even when he would get those super lucky things. A lot of players, when they get that lucky shot or they hit the roller through the trees, they hit that big putt. It's like, oh yeah, they got lucky, but then they don't follow up afterwards. He's a player that when the luck comes, he's going to bank on it and continue to keep using that momentum forwards compared to going, dude, that was super lucky, and then messing up the next shot. So I think that's the difference and what makes him, a multi-time major champion now.
Insane to think.
It's absolutely insane. I will say, yes, he did win the European Open. Ricky this year is the only player to podium at both majors. The consistency of Ricky Wysocki is ridiculous. He won the disc golf Pro Tour finale last year in a playoff. And I think all the talk of 2,500 whatever days and blah 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 blah, all that stuff of just beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
Just like
Since he won his last major.
Yeah, which I was at here. It was here in Georgia. He won Worlds in 2017. It was awesome. I think Ricky Wysocki wins World Championships this year. I think there's just no chance he lets another one slip.
He's
and
hungry,
I think there's
man.
a chance that he comes back and wins Ledgestone and wins the next one. And he just goes on a freaking tear because he's been in the mix every single week.
It's a good take.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Last thing we'll talk about here as we wrap up, Simon Lizotte. I think there's a lot of hype behind him always with how he's been playing. And there was a couple players, but Simon definitely came to mind as he just didn't look like he was having fun.
Yeah, it looked like little things were happening. Like he would kind of early release or like his putt would just chain out left side. And it was really getting under his skin. Usually he's the kind of guy, he'll like turn around and look at the camera and just be like, really?
Yeah.
Did that just happen? But then he kind of moves on. But you can tell that everything was just weighing him down.
Dude.
And then there's that moment. Well, it was hole 16.
Yep.
At the European
Open. There's a video on Instagram that came across my feed. I sent it to Zach, and it was from the drop zone. So he from the drop zone, hole 16, kicks out left, and he takes the pixel putter that he made. Also, it's so funny to me watching people throw bad shots with the disc that they made. I'm like, who are you going to blame? Who are you going to blame? You designed this. But that aside, he takes the thing, bends it into fourths. It's like the size of a softball. And it's just like on the edge of like the fence, just holding it. And you can see him just like crushing into it. And then in the comments, someone said this disc, he signed it, gave it to a fan, and it sold for $462. Like, what? Like, this is the disc that Simon rage monstered and I had signed, and then it sold for $462. So if you have that, please let us know. Send us a message over on Instagram at Park Podcast. I'd love to know why you have that and what it looks like now, because it's
I want to know what it
weirdest
looks like.
shape ever. So ridiculous. But overall, as we wrap up the European swing, I love this part of the season. I love that it's getting bigger, that there's multiple events, that we had players staying over there for multiple weeks, getting used to it, enjoying it. The fans, top notch. The courses, unbeatable. I don't think there's the last 3 courses we played. The next 3 courses we're going to play on the tour are going to feel like, what are we doing? Let's go back to Europe.
Yeah.
Let's go back to it. But I got to shout out Esa-Pekka Tupola once again, the freaking GOAT. Every single round.
Amazing.
Single round. And alongside Nate and Brian, I thought they both did an amazing job. I think it's great to see them having the ability on the top stage to be able to commentate on that. I love the insight. I love the energy from both of them.
Yes.
I thought they paired super well alongside Esa as well.
Yeah, Esa just I was very surprised, really, just shocked that he was able to keep the same level of intensity throughout the entire swing. Because in the beginning, he was like, just an upshot, really nice, beautiful shape, and she shapes it perfectly into the circle for a tap in, and that he never loses it. Every time he watches a great shot, it's like he just loves watching frisbees fly. And it's palatable. You can feel it in his voice. And the accent doesn't hurt either. Let's be honest. The accent's awesome. Every time he said Kristen Tatar, I was like, whoa, I just had to repeat it. Tatar, Tatar, Kristen Tatar. I was like, this is just, it's making it more enjoyable in general.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But what a guy. I want him to come to America and do some commentary here.
Right? I would love it. That'd be awesome. Well, wrapping up here, the European Open. I miss it already. Take us back. And when we return, we're going to have Alex join us, talk about the New York City disc golf course alongside the Paul McBeth Foundation. It's going to be an awesome interview. Stick around. You're listening to Park Podcast. Calling all content creators, large or small, DGA wants to get you involved on a project that's kind of a secret.
So if you think you might be interested, this is your chance to get involved with DGA, get behind the scenes, and get in before it hits the public. All you need to do is DM us at DGA Disc Golf on Instagram and send us the words "Secret Project."
Welcome back, everyone, and joining us now is Alex and Alex, or Hoyle and Bender, as they've told us to call them. They are the creators, designers. We're going to find out. I'm not exactly sure what their titles are on this, but creating the first disc golf course in New York City. I'm sure you've seen the hype. You've seen the videos over on Jomez. Macbeth got like aces back to back. There's a lot of hype behind this course and a lot of excitement behind it. But I met these guys through Zach. So Zach, I'm going to hand it off to you, run this thing and talk to them. And I can't wait to learn all about it.
Yeah. Thanks guys. We appreciate you being here. So I had first even thought about New York City disc golf a few months ago. We had one of our first episodes, a guy who got a course redo, right? Got a course redo, and he's in New York. And I was like, well, what about New York City? He says nothing. New York City has nothing. And I was just shocked with the amount of people. And I know the space can be limited, but right away, as I started thinking about it, I started seeing the posts about New York City's first disc golf course. And then a UDisc article came out, New York City's first disc golf course. So I got to meet Alex Bender, and that was great just to see you on the course in New York City. Yeah. So we'll take it a couple ways, but if you guys want to go and tell us a little bit about how you got into disc and what made you guys want to bring it to New York City.
Yeah. Thanks, Zach and Mitch. And yeah, Zach, I can't get over how serendipitous of a meeting it was when you just walked up on the disc golf course. I was running an event that day, and lo and behold, here we are. So yeah, it was great meeting you. But yeah, my journey into disc golf. So I'm born and raised in Aurora, Colorado, just outside of Denver. And I never really played growing up, even though Denver, I now know, is home to many great courses. The first time I ever played was in 2019. So only around 5 years ago, because a good friend of mine who's really into ultimate frisbee, he made the transition to disc golf, the ultimate to disc golf pipeline, and just brought me to play disc golf for the first time in 2019. Gave me my first discs, kind of showed me the ropes, and pretty quickly after that, it just became such a staple hobby of mine. And what really made it stick for me personally is after leaving Colorado, I went on like a year-long road trip in a camper van, and disc golf was kind of my way of taking a break from the road. So when I was visiting a random place, whether it was Iowa or Idaho or Massachusetts, I would always make a point to kind of stop at a disc golf course and use it as a way to learn about the community and just have a fun round breaking up my drive. Yeah, so then it became just like a staple hobby of mine.
That's amazing. So since we're speaking of taking a break, take a break from our disc golf talk. Tell us what you're sipping on tonight, Bender.
Oh,
yeah, we're talking pre podcast here all about the beer. I actually spilled my entire beer all over the desks. That was great. I have less beer than you guys, but what are you sipping on?
Yeah, I can attest that you did spill it. But okay, I got this 6 Point Brewery, the Crisp Pilsner. It's a Brooklyn brewery with some like Pennsylvania locations. But funny story behind this can specifically is last week I was at the Highland Park disc golf course, and I was just there taking some photos for the course. And there was a group of people who found out about the course on their own through one of our articles or something. And a guy named Sebastian played the whole course, came up to me afterwards and was like, "Thank you for all your efforts in bringing the course. Here's a beer." And he handed me this can right here. Yes, so this has awesome. Highland Park disc golf course all over it.
Heck yeah, dude.
That's beautiful. That's so amazing. Cool. All right, Hoyle, your turn, man. Tell us a little bit about your journey into disc golf and then what you're sipping on.
Sure. First, I'll say, Mitch, the back-to-back aces was absolutely electric to see.
Oh, gosh, I bet.
It was really such an exciting day with like hundreds of disc golfers and community members there just celebrating the day. And then we were doing it was the Champs versus Challengers event, and we had tied it up through 7 holes. And then Macbeth was like, "We're going to have to ace to beat these guys." And then what does he do? He steps up and hits back-to-back aces. And so
jeez.
Just shut the door completely. So it was a very funny and very cool moment to be a witness to. But
wild.
Yeah, but more on me. So I started playing disc golf back in 2007. I'm from Arkansas originally, so some decent space to play some disc golf, very different than New York City. And I played fairly consistently all the way until now. Moved out to Washington, D.C. for graduate school, which is then what brought me to the East Coast, and then up to, I followed my wife up to New York. So that's how I wound up in the big city. And when I got here, it was one of those quick realizations that there wasn't going to be an easy way to play disc golf. And there's some really phenomenal courses all about 2 hours away by like transit if you don't have a car. They're a little quick if you have a car, but I sold my truck when I got to the East Coast, and so I'm dependent on the transit. So some really great woods golf, some really like a steady ed course is like 2.5 hours away. So like some really old courses in the area. So it's really like rich disc golf history in the city and around the city. But there's just been kind of this 30-year dead period where there really hasn't been disc golf present in New York City. And this all kind of started when, it's interesting. Me and Bender were approaching the same issue from like two ends of the stick. So I can kind of tell my part of it, and then Bender can hop in with kind of this side of it. But I started just going to the park that's near my apartment with a pop-up basket, and had like posted some events on Meetup, was posting on Facebook, just trying to get like meet friends that play disc golf. First meetup, we had 2 people come out and play. So just the 3 of us, so very small. But it was the start. And every week, more people either saw us in the park and they were disc golfers and joined us, or they found us online. And before we know it, we had, a community of 40 or 50 people that were playing. At that point, we were just the Brooklyn Disc Golf Club. We had not yet evolved into the New York City Disc Golf Association, which came later after I'd met Bender, which one day in the park, I think it was like February or March, we were doing one of our weekly meetups. And Bender was on a bike ride and happened to see us playing and hopped off his bike and was just immediately abandoned his friends that he was biking with. And me and him got to talking and realized that we shared the same vision for what we wanted disc golf to be in New York City. Like we wanted to be an experience for people in the city. We felt like New York City was missing out on such like a unique and important part of my life that has positively impacted me in so many ways. And just, we wanted to be able to bring that to people that live here and kind of are in a disc golf desert. And so that was kind of my approach, was just like building the grassroots community for it. And then here, Bender, you can jump in, just talk about more of the network you were building.
Yeah, definitely.
What are you sipping on though, Hoyle? We need
yeah. You're getting thirsty, I can tell.
I'm sipping on the so it's Other Half is the brewery. They started here in Brooklyn. They've got some locations in DC and in Philly. And the beer is the Double Citra Daydreamed, which is a triple dry hopped Imperial Oat Cream Indian Pale Ale. So
my God,
it's good. It's very good. They're known. Here's it in a glass. It's very like it's my kind of favorite type of beer to drink.
Love it.
The brewery started in like 2014 and has just become a real staple for people in Brooklyn. And I don't know how much you go into like the history of the beers, but the Citra is like it's like a type of hop, and it was first crossbred in like 1990 and was popularized in 2008 when it won like best beer in the world award, and all sorts of breweries started using.
Do you know what Citra it is?
I do not actually. So I didn't come.
It's getting wild. We made a beer the other day that's called, it was a Citra Hyper Boost, Citra 701 Hyper Boost. So like they're just they're getting wild. So,
like, well, the craze caught on. But I will say Other Half is probably my favorite brewery in New York City.
Really? Okay.
Wow.
For sure.
Can you check it out?
It's
Did
way
you
up there.
go to the
You're in good company.
New York?
Yeah.
Very
my friends, a good friend of mine is like, we both just love beer and different varieties of beer. So we'll go anywhere and just get flights and just try everything.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man, that was one of the stops that it was like, we have to go, was Other Half.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
Dude, where I'll have to get it. I'll have to go up there. Gonna be in New York City like next spring ish. We had some friends that just moved up there, so I'll have to definitely put other half on my list of things to go to for sure. But tonight I'm sipping on one of the beers from Contrast, the brewery that I run at. So we got the Amber Buzz Honey Lager. It is brewed with local honey, and it's really cool. We actually worked with a local organization called Doc's Healing Hives that helps veterans heal through the art of beekeeping. It's a dreamy, rich amber color. Drinks super smooth, lovely body with it, and it has honey. Sometimes in beer can make it too sweet. This kind of gives that dryness of the honey, so it's an amber lager, a little bit more malty style, but definitely has the nice sweet honey finish on your lips. You kind of keep coming back for it, so it's freaking great. And for some reason, we've had it on tap for a while, and in the last week, it has become our best-selling beer out of nowhere, and I have no idea why. Like, did not get drank for 2 weeks, and then everyone's like, the buzz. I want the Amber Buzz. I want the Amber Buzz. So we're just buzzing. We're buzzing over here, as the kids say. But Zach, what are you drinking on? And we'll continue here.
Well, there's certainly no honey on my lips, but dude, just the phrase got me. So this is called Glizza. It's a New Zealand style Pilsner.
Wait, Gizza or Glizza?
You're right. It's Gizza.
Because Glizza is a whole nother thing. We're going to cut that. All right, go ahead. Continue.
It's called Gizza. It's a New Zealand style Pilsner. It comes from a Round Trip Brewing Company here in Atlanta. And the cool thing is, it's a Pilsner, so it's really light bodied, but they used Motueka hops.
Ooh.
And it's like kind of fruity, gives it a little lemon and a little lime. So it's a little more vibrant than your average everyday Pilsner. Really, really nice. Definitely crushable. The whole thing is like, crush it now. It's like, give me the beer of beers. I'm just going to give me another one.
Yeah, they just opened a location in East Cobb, didn't they?
They did. Beautiful location.
One of their managers came into Contrast the other day and was like, "You need to come check us out." So I'm gonna go check their spot out sometime soon. I didn't even know they put one up there, so I need to get over there. That's probably super close to your house, yeah.
Yep. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Indeed. Cheers, y'all. Definitely. Well, let's continue on here. You guys, love being able to hear how you guys got into disc golf and how, literally, Bender, you're riding your bike and are like, I'm going to abandon what I'm doing. This is important. I care about this, and this is cool. So fast forward to when was that? And then obviously there's been a lot of things happening before we'll get to how you even got, Paul Macbeth involved and how all those kind of things. But what happened in the interim as you grew this thing from 2 people, like you said, at your first meetup, to now you have 40, 50 people coming on a random night? What was that, those years like, and how long was that?
Yeah. So in the grand scheme of things, it hasn't actually been that long, which is exciting to say, but we met in like February, March of 2023.
Oh, wow.
Hoyle was starting the weekly meetups in probably the summer of 2022. At the same time, before we had met, is when I was kind of approaching it from the other angle. And when I moved to New York, also noticed the disc golf desert. My, skill set and interests led me to start reaching out to the parks department, kind of from like the advocacy side. And so I started scouting out parks all over the city, creating proposals for where a disc golf course might be a good addition to a community. And so I was reaching out to the parks department over the course of the summer of 2022, fall into the winter. And by the time that I was on the bike ride and met Hoyle, I had already made contact with some members of the parks department and kind of some early traction in them actually listening to the idea, which made me realize, like, I definitely have to get off my bike right now. There's other disc golfers in the city. What? Like, that's amazing. Because there wasn't a whole lot online about like the disc golf community. It seemed like it kind of petered out. And then after that, it just kind of picked up. We started running more weekly meetups, just trying to build kind of the disc golfer community, posting those events, sharing them as much as we could. Slowly but surely, they started growing. So we kind of had a crew of people who were either really active at our events and also active contributors in trying to grow the organization.
And were these events like you were playing around together, or were they just like a meet up and hang, talk discs, like sell kind of thing? Or where were you guys at?
Mostly, we were playing pop-up rounds. So we would bring our own pop-up baskets. We would design holes in parks,
What?
and we would play as if we had a course there.
That's
There
awesome.
were some other events, like the occasional glow round, and Hoyle,
Oh,
before
cool.
I even joined, ran the first tournament of the club's history, which happened in, what was it, January, when it was freezing cold.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do like an ice bowl at Prospect Park, and we have 18 holes mapped out, and then we
That's
have
crazy.
a card ambassador that will carry their basket from like hole to hole. So you just kind of like follow each card
What?
all around the park, because obviously we don't have a real course, and there needs to be like a way
Yeah.
to have the flow without like having baskets in the ground. So that tournament's been really fun, and we'll probably continue to do it, because even though
Wow.
there's no baskets, that park is incredible for disc golf, which is true for so many parks here in New York City, which I'm sure we'll talk about more later. But
Mhm.
Highland is hopefully just the beginning. Like there's so much
Yeah.
opportunity here, and
Yeah.
just to like see it and experience it and be able to play disc golf has been really cool.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, let's fast forward,
Yeah.
continuing in, like, how do you
Oh, yeah.
get, okay, where you're setting up a course. First of all, if you're listening to this and you complain about your local course, you have one. Okay, you have one. Yeah, the tee
With
pads may
T-pads.
suck. You got single chain baskets. I don't care. These guys are literally carrying the basket like just to every single hole. That's insane. That's wild to me.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's incredible. And now Highland Park, was that somewhere where you guys had played before, or what was that?
So the origin story of Highland is interesting. When I was creating proposals for the New York City Parks Department, I kind of created a short list of parks that, from a disc golfer perspective, me visiting at different times of the week, different times of day, based on the space available, the amount of foot traffic, the accessibility to transit, like all these different factors, like what parks might be a good host for a disc golf course. And Highland Park ended up being on top of the short list when making the first proposal to the Parks Department. And the big reasons for that is it's not that well utilized, the area of the park that the disc golf course is in, and it's very close to public transit. So a lot of people could access it. And so when we were thinking through like the actual, like, okay, how does this go from idea to reality? We brought to the table sort of a vision of like what this sort of thing can be and what is required to go from like point A to point B. And we brought that to the Parks Department, and we tried to just take as much of the work off their plate by doing our prep work. So those initial meetings happened, kind of presenting the different areas of the city that would be good for a disc golf course and why disc golf is an investment that the Parks Department should be interested in. It's community benefit, the fact it's so low impact on the land. It's great for all ages. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but we were able to kind of make that pitch. And then the missing piece became kind of the funding of the course. And at that point is when reached out to the Paul Macbeth Foundation to say, hey, we have this like early traction going. Would you be interested in supporting this project from like a funding and installation perspective? And they just became, from that point on, just an absolutely great partner, helping us. They funded the course. They pulled together different donors who helped them to fund the course.
Wow.
So Alex Hoyle and I created the initial design layouts of the course, and we co-designed sort of our joint layout. And Paul Macbeth Foundation sent one of their course designers to help us tweak. So they sent professional disc golf course design help. And then also once we got to the final approval stages, helped so much with the grand opening and actually bringing Paul Macbeth to the disc golf course. So it really just became a labor of love of so many people, and then just a great collaboration on all fronts.
That's so neat, man. Like, honestly, I mean, obviously boots on the ground, it took a good bit of effort from you to write the proposals and meet the right people and get them interested at all. But the fact that all you had to do was reach out to the foundation and they kind of ran with that, that's incredible. Like, what a cool opportunity to just have them being like, okay, you need it, we're gonna fund it, here we go.
Yeah.
So is that everything from like tee pads to baskets to tee signs?
Yeah, and exactly, those are the only components of the disc golf course. It's a 10-hole course, relatively beginner friendly. It stands to serve as like an introductory course to get New Yorkers into disc golf. It's not like a championship tier course, but it's still so much fun, as I hope you can attest to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think because we were like the drivers of the project, and we kind of had all of our ducks in a row and the strategy of the project, it made the Paul Macbeth's the foundation's job easier to just deliver their like expertise where needed, which was really on funding, installation, design. So the tee pads they sourced from like a golf course, and the baskets were donated by Discraft, and different organizations, PDGA and UDisc, also donated to the foundation to help fund this course. So yeah, we pooled a lot of resources together to make it happen.
They've also sent us like hundreds and hundreds of discs, like used for our public events and just like have as a resource as we continue to grow. So their support has gone like far and wide, and like their willingness to like help. I mean, it's cliche maybe, but like grow the sport. Like they truly live and breathe that ethos. And it was just really great to like partner with them and watch that in action.
I mean, the opportunity in New York City, like it is truly an untapped gold mine. You know, there's so many people who have never even seen it or heard of it. And I think what you guys are doing, even from the time that you started meetups, that's what is going to spread it the most. You're going to see these guys throwing Frisbees and banging chains, and you're going to turn your head and you're going to think, what is that? How do I do that? Can I do it? And now you guys have the tools, you've got the discs. And the first one's always free. It's the old dealer mentality. I'm going to get you hooked because the first one's free and you're going to come back for more. And I know it.
Right.
That's so cool, you guys.
Yeah. So let's fast forward to the day of the opening. Obviously, you put the course in the ground. You had a good idea of what it's going to look like, everything like that. When this happens, what is that timeline like of, hey, we have we got the Macbeth Foundation. Oh my gosh, how did we do that? That's awesome. And then we continue the course getting designed to then now you have like the launch day. What was that energy like? Hoyle, if you want to talk us through that, you're saying you were there for the aces and everything. Give us some of that information, Hoyle.
Well, I will say, first there was a lot of work put in like before the day of. Bender and I went to several community board meetings, presented to them, really got like the community's buy-in on like this is what disc golf is and this is why like we want to bring it to you all. Because
did you have like a presentation thing of like this is what Frisbees are, this is how it flies?
Exactly. So there was a whole presentation that was laid out, and that was really important because we are people not from New York City coming into people's community and like trying to bring something new, but something that's also different and unknown to them. So like gaining that relationship and that approval from them was like a super important part of the process. So by the time we got to the day of, there was already so much excitement built because we had put in the groundwork to kind of get that acceptance with the course going in. So on the day of, saying day of, it was actually 2 days. The first day was an incredible community focused day to really let them know that this course is for them. And it was really geared for them to learn about disc golf. So Bender had done some incredible reach out with the local schools, and we had, I think, over 100 middle school kids come out, and Misty Cannon ran a clinic with them, and it was really like exciting to watch some of these kids throw like 250 feet, like their first throw, like no wobble, these perfect flex shots. It was like there's real talent in New York City, and it's already apparent that maybe a future world champ is going to come out of Queens or Brooklyn, which was really cool to bear with.
So cool. Sick. I love it.
So just a lot of energy that day. And then the next day was more of a disc golfer focused day where we had the ace race, we had the champs versus chumps event, and it was just really a celebration of New York getting not its first disc golf course ever. There was something in the 90s that was on Randall's Island, but it was kind of before its time, as people say, and it wasn't used that much, and ultimately was taken out of the ground. So it was from like 1999 that went in all the way to 2024. We're finally getting the next disc golf course in New York City. So it had been such a long time and was just a really cool moment to be a part of.
Can we get like a bronze statue of you guys out there at Highland Park, please?
No, definitely not. Maybe Paul Macbeth celebrating his double ace.
Yeah,
cool. Okay. So I take it you're not trying to make it big off the course name or anything like that.
No, I think the true ambitions with this are just to introduce a new activity. There's so many New Yorkers who have no awareness of it, just broadly speaking, but will really benefit from it in our humble opinions. So Highland Park is accessible to a lot of people, but it's not accessible to the whole city. So we do really want to increase access across the whole city to disc golf. And if some percentage of people catch that bug that we have all caught, they watch that disc fly and do the flex shot or whatever it is for them, they park their first disc. Some percentage of people in New York City that happens to, that's already probably more PDGA members than there currently are PDGA members.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just
it's such a concentrated, it's such a concentrated amount of people looking for something. And like, I've never lived in New York City. Like, kudos to you guys for being able to live there. I could never do that. Zach and I talk about that. Like, it's a whole different like culture and vibe and everything. And I feel like as a like city goer, like you said, you sold your truck when you moved there and everything. Like, you are so confined to what is accessible to whether that's the gym you go to, the grocery store you go to, like everything has to be close because it has to be accessible. So putting that accessibility factor and making that a forefront, that's such a big deal for, Zach and I were talking about at the top of this episode going like, man, if that course was 30 minutes closer to the city, I feel like it would just be super played. And I'm like, yeah, but we have like 30 courses that we're just like, we go play all the time. Like we're so spoiled on that. So it's cool to hear like the thought behind that of the accessibility and like the not pretty stuff too of the, we're going to sit in board meetings with a bunch of old people that do not give a crap about putting metal baskets in a course. They don't care. Like is there any funny stories or anything that you guys had like walking out of that or of some of those meetings where you're like, they don't care, or the opposite, an amazing story along the way.
Someone who's really in it.
They were like, "What? This person knows what disc golf is?" Like any stories along that, like in the weird meetings and stuff you guys went to.
One thing that sticks out to me, I will say I could confidently say 100% of people in that meeting had never heard of disc golf. Like no mention of it, even like an idea of what it is. So it was all education of like what this is as a concept first. And I was like so pleasantly surprised with like the reception, but I definitely remember going in with a sense of almost anticipating pushback and realizing that it wasn't really there because once we made the pitch of like what disc golf is, it kind of, the idea sold itself. Like it's the greatest sport and people were just so predominantly positive about it. And from different angles, like there were community board members who their thing is like health and well-being. And they latched onto the idea of disc golf as a form of health programming for their community. There's people who are all about like mindfulness and like finding a respite from the hustle bustle of New York City. They latched onto the idea of disc golf from their own lens. And so we saw that sort of thing happen at the community board meetings, which was pleasantly surprising. Obviously, there's always some amount of negative feedback that comes out, but those are the people who are initially like resistant to it. We ended up focusing engagement on, and it ended up just being like a good amenity to bring to the neighboring community.
Yeah, I'll say a specific moment for me. So I'm a like big disc collector. I've overpaid.
Oh yeah.
Discs that I'm ashamed to admit how much I've spent, but I did bring a really cool pastry dyed Adam Hammis big sledge zone, and I just wanted to like show him a cool piece of plastic.
Yes.
And one of the community board members was like, "I want that disc," and so I had to give away my pastry dyed big sledge. But it felt worth it. It was it was for a bigger cause. So
sacrificial.
Is that the
dude.
only one you have of like the big sledge like zone?
Yes, yeah, that was my only one of that
Okay.
one. So it was
Does Adam Hamas know you did that?
no, he does not.
We might want to tell him.
I
Yeah.
know him, and I'll somehow connect you when you get down here in Atlanta. Remind me of that, and I'll somehow connect you with that, and maybe we can make something happen.
That would be
We'll try,
great.
because that is
Cool.
or at least tell him the story, and he'd be
Yes.
like, "That's hilarious."
Yes.
But yeah, he's a friend of mine. That's
An old
so
lady
funny.
in Queens has his disc like sitting on her mantle.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's so good.
I love it.
Gage, if you heard that, please, we need to clip that and send it to
Yes.
Adam. That's
Just
funny.
for him.
Just for him. That's so
Yes.
good. That's so funny. Some
And
old
I
lady's
saw,
like,
I saw he posted on Instagram that he was in New York City recently, and on our Instagram NYCDGA, we were like, "Yo, you should come check out the course."
Yeah.
So we're slowly making inroads to the Hamas clan.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So something that you've been able to do, Bender, now is you're getting your own line of beginner friendly discs out there.
Yes, I am. Yeah, so right now I'm myself recently left my corporate job and I'm full-time on disc golf and splitting my time between co-leading New York City Disc Golf Association with Hoyle and founding a small business called Populous. The two organizations have very complementary missions. Like, we really want NYCDGA to be like the home of disc golfers in the city, the place where you can join a league, you have events, tournaments, chatter about the pro events, just be with your disc golfer people.
Yeah.
And the whole objective and mission of Populous is to make disc golf just feel radically more approachable for people. And the reason the idea sprouted was in our conversations and in our community outreach, and as we were trying to build the Disc Golf Association, it just became so apparent how many people either have never heard of disc golf, or those who have had some preconceived notion about it that made them think it wasn't for them. And so the point of Populous is to really show people that disc golf is really for the people. It's for everyone in the populace. That's where the name comes from. And there's also that double meaning with the word ace.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's trying to build a brand that makes disc golf feel exciting to urban or city dwellers, with an urban modern brand. We make discs. We have 3 molds to help people get into disc golf, and the goal of the molds when deciding on the molds is to give people those experiences that get you hooked on disc golf. It's like the flex shot, the parking a hole, just the discs that you're not throwing an overstable distance driver and immediately it's fading out and you're just not having a good time. And we also are a lifestyle business to try to bring the urban style into disc golf.
I'm on the website right now, dude. These are sick. I need one of these t-shirts. They're so sick. Yeah, the fly off course, tees and stuff. I
have one right here.
Oh heck yeah.
Dude, so cool.
They're I love the look of it. The deeper sleeve, it definitely has such a cool vibe with the corduroy hat. Dude, that's such cool. To jump on that, and everything about that is so New York City. The corduroy hat, the subway, the longer sleeve tees, everything is okay, how do we take disc golf and make it New York City? Because disc golf's weird. The people that play disc golf, we've had people on this podcast where we're just this is the weirdest conversation I've had ever. And it's with disc golf and stuff. And it's because disc golf's weird, but to take it and bring it to the culture of New York City, which also is very much in a bubble. And like you said, both of you not being from New York City and the culture shock of that, I think you have such a good understanding of how do we pair something we love that is never heard of and make it New York City, and doing this kind of brand thing with you wouldn't expect this, the way this merch and stuff looks like. We'll throw a link to this in the show notes for sure. Super cool to see, but it takes that and kind of pairs those together of this is disc golf, but it also still feels like New York City. Super cool.
Yeah. As we are bringing disc golf to New York City, also want to bring New York City into disc golf for the first time and inject in that New York City essence. So you touched on it well.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about the day, having Macbeth, having, all the people. What was the expectation going into this launch day? You had the community day with all the kids and everything, but it was kind of like, hey, these kids are expected to be there. But then, what was the expectation going into the day, the launch day, with the cameras, with everything? What was that like for you?
Honestly, it just felt like such a culminating moment, and we were able to, like, the day itself was very busy, but there were some moments of like realization. I remember I was standing off in the distance looking to the crowds of people watching Paul Macbeth and Missy Gannon like playing on the disc golf course. There's probably 150 people behind them.
Wow.
And I was in the distance, and I was just like, this is really happening. Like
Yeah.
around a year ago, before the installation, is when I first reached out to the Paul Macbeth Foundation. So there was a lot of prep work that went in. So it just felt like a real culminating moment. And as far as an event goes, it went as well as an event can go. Like, it just kind of went off without a hitch. The kids had fun, the schools had fun, the parks department was super engaged, and then all the disc golfers came. Paul Macbeth was signing discs.
Wow.
We had like a special stamped disc that was created. So this stamp was created collaboratively with the Paul Macbeth Foundation and one of their designers. So it has like all the sponsors. It has some like the Lady Liberty, the Unisphere, and Flushing Meadows. So like these discs were at the event. They were being signed. So the expectations were absolutely exceeded. I didn't realize kind of how well the event was going to go.
I would agree with that, and it really like put a lot of energy in what the club is doing as well. Like a couple stats for you. Like, we are at our 97th paid member, so we're about to cross like the 100 member threshold, which is a super exciting moment. We had budgeted at the start of the year for 30 people to sign up, so we've like totally blown through like where we thought we would be at this point in the year. And this course opening was definitely the catalyst to all of that.
That's crazy.
And then it's cool to like look at the UDisc stats, where we're creeping up on 2,000 rounds played almost in and a half. And that's just people who have tracked it on UDisc, so we know.
And that's in how long, you said?
When it opened, I mean, it's probably been a month and a half or so.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I have the UDisc stats up here, and this is actually another crazy coincidence. It says it's been played 1776 times.
America.
Yeah, right. Also, that's the height of the World Trade Center in Lower Manhattan.
Wow.
Fun fact.
Serendipity.
All right, I'm going to tell everyone to stop playing so that it can stay at that number.
It's done. Screenshot.
Dude, good luck, man. Good luck. They're addicted already. We gave it to them.
Right.
So what's the plan now? I saw a post the other day that there's a chance that another city might be getting popped into the New York City area.
Another course, you mean?
Yeah, did I say city?
You did, but it's all right.
They're adding a city. Disc golfers only. You have to be a disc golfer to live there.
Right.
It's like
another course is getting added.
Yeah, I think not so much plans as there are efforts currently, but like it's all part of a larger vision of bringing disc golf and making it physically accessible to more people. So we, recognizing like the learnings of what made Highland Park successful, did a lot of prep work in answering those questions preemptively that the Parks Department is going to have, doing the proposal of like where specifically in the park would be good for a disc golf course. And then we can have the like conversations about pieces of information we're not privy to, about kind of narrowing in on like this specific parcel of land. So we are currently scouting out places in the city that would be a great host for a second disc golf course. We're keeping in contact with our Parks Department counterparts. They're aware of disc golf's growth already and kind of primed and ready for the conversations. So it's feeling like it's going to happen. We don't know where yet. It depends on where there's the will for a disc golf course. But our kind of current priority is like doing that proposal prep work, so we come to the table prepared.
It seems like it worked last time, so I have full faith that you guys can make it work again.
Fingers crossed. And as this is going on, so bringing a course is obviously only one piece of the puzzle, but we're also stepping up like our community engagement efforts.
Cool.
Doing days targeted at people who do not know disc golf, and then also doing events targeted at people who do know disc golf, so they can finally have that disc golf league they wanted. We do a weekly league. We do a putting league weekly. We have a day or like an event every Friday called Femme Fridays, which is targeted at non-men and just trying to increase the diversity of disc golf, which is obviously a problem we are all well aware of. So we're building our like programming and events side of the house as well.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, putting leagues. I mean, down here, honestly, a lot of breweries are getting putting leagues and things like that going. Is that happening up there?
So we're at it's a bar, not a brewery, but it's probably one of the bigger bars in the city in terms of space to have a putting league. And they were, one of our members just happened to know the owner, and they were just super accommodating. And so we get to have a weekly league there. We do glow rounds once a month on Thursdays at the park near where I'm at. We try to do some fun things as well to like bring several different types of disc golf experiences to the city. So one thing we've been doing is these disc dyeing events where we set up in Central Park and everyone like makes their own dyed disc and goes home with like a fun little trinket. We do watch parties on the Pro Tour. Everyone comes over and like hangs out and just drinks beer and just enjoys some disc golf. So we're trying to do a lot of things, just keep people engaged and give people different ways to plug into our little small but strong.
Y'all are doing the most, like truly the most. Like this is not normal. Like,
but it's not extra. You know, it's not the most in a bad way. It's like you're doing the most good things possible.
It's crazy. Like that is not happening at some of the biggest. You know, you think of like some of the big cities for disc golf. Charlotte comes to mind. Huge community.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah, like these kind of places that you're like, they're not having watch parties for every single event. They're not doing like that's crazy. Like no doubt that it's going to continue to grow in the New York City area. Like that's incredible. I love that.
Yeah.
It's
and
really...
I have to mention one potential reason why that might be. Obviously I don't know, but I think New York City has this just really strong culture of community. And oftentimes people who don't know New York City well think about just like the classic things, whether it's the touristy sites in Manhattan or maybe some news stories they've read that makes them think that parts of New York City are not for them. But every borough in New York City is so beautiful and diverse. They're home to amazingly designed parks. The food is incredible. And like there's just these communities that you can plug into that are collaborating with one another really collectively. And I think that's just kind of part of the soul of the city, for lack of a better term. And so, Mitch, I know you said you might come to New York City next spring. Definitely let us know if you do, because I'd love to show you some of the best food spots and outside of the touristy areas as well.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of my friends that moved up there in Astoria, I think is where they're at.
So. Astoria's amazing. Such good food up there. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Hoyle, what were you going to say? You look like you're about to jump in.
Oh, I was just going to add, like, the big lesson I've taken away from all of this is just to take action and just start doing stuff. Like, if you're in a place where you want to see more happening with your disc golf community, just start doing it. And that will attract more people that want to be a part of that. So you can sit on the couch and be like, oh, I wish there was something going on. Or you can take action and make it happen. And just like, you never know what's going to come of it. And so going from 2 people to a Paul Macbeth Foundation built like course, like it was what a journey it's been in our 2 years as an organization. So
well, Gage said it really well in our chat here. He said you guys are writing the playbook for how to build a disc golf community. And I love it because my thinking was like, let's get people playing the game. But you guys are even thinking like, let's make it an art form. Let's dye the Frisbees because that might get someone's interest. Like, you guys are using colors. What are these colors for? Oh, we're actually putting Frisbees in there. Let's talk about Frisbees now. Just any way to kind of like take an inch and then pull the thread as long as I possibly can. I think it is so cool, you guys. This is incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you. But one other thing to note on Hoyle's point is it's not necessarily like this is all part of some master plan. Some master plan that we like figured out from the outset. It's just incrementally we're kind of just gradually figuring it out. So if someone has like paralysis by analysis, so to speak, or they don't know how to act, just doing something is certainly better than thinking that you need to have the whole thing planned out before acting.
Yeah. And I think you hit that on the head, and you've talked about it a lot, is like, if this can be done in New York City, like this can be done in a small town across the country, like in one of the most polarizing, biggest like culture shock level of cities that a lot of people see. Like you said, like you just see the big city things, but it's like, no, there's communities that are collaborating together. I think it's so much more accessible to, if you don't have a course in your city, like reach out to these guys, reach out to them on Instagram, reach out to them on Facebook, whatever it is, like have those kind of conversations, because it's replicable, repeatable. I don't know the right word here. It's repeatable to do exactly what you guys have done on the grand stage of one of the biggest cities in our country. If it works on that level, it'll work on the smaller levels too. And I think that's so neat that you're like, we're just two random guys that are just like, we're going to go to our local town hall meeting and go, this is disc golf. You never heard of it. It's cool. Like, I mean, that's just, but like you said, the action and actually choosing to do that, so many people don't. So I would say if you're listening to this and you made it this far, like that's the takeaway here. Action, like you can do anything with that. And if you love disc golf and you're in a small town in the middle of nowhere, like, and you want to have a disc golf course, like connect with your local community, have those conversations, put up a meet thing and have 2 people. And guess what? In less than a year, you have 50. And now you have over almost 2,000 times a course has been played in a month. Like that's insane. Like if no one's told you guys in a long time, like what the heck? That is incredible. Like what you guys have done in such a short amount of time is absolutely amazing. And the community you've built and the relationships and the lifelong friendships. It makes me think of a story that I've heard from one of the guys that helps with another round and runs that, told me like this disc golf store saved my life. Like I don't have any friends. I moved to the city. I don't know anything about this thing, but because of this store in the middle of Denver, I now have friends that I consider some of my closest people in the world. Like you guys are doing that and you're creating that community of people around you that go, I had in New York City, I'm in this big place. I don't know anyone, but I found disc golf and now I have a place to go on this day, on this time and do this. And like that community is being built and those conversations and those stories are being written that you don't see. And that's so cool. Like that's so special that you guys have been able to create that.
Thank you. I appreciate that sentiment.
For sure. Definitely. Well, Zach, you got any other questions for these guys?
No, I just want to say thank you again. And I'll be back. I'll be back up there. I'm gonna hit you guys up. If it's not before November, Hoyle, I'm gonna see you in Atlanta.
100%.
We're gonna take you guys out on a town. Do
Hoyle's
whatever
gonna come
you guys
down and
like
take
to
all
do.
of our money at our leagues in Atlanta. We need to get
He will. He's good.
Yeah, I normally choke under pressure, so
good. We'll put you under pressure. Perfect.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, guys, this has been awesome. I love hearing the story. This honestly like brings so much joy just knowing that it's spreading in a place where I think things just will naturally spread anyway.
Yep.
And to have some of the biggest names already stamp their piece of history on that course too. This is really, really cool. So keep it up, guys. Keep it up.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And definitely feel free to connect with us. We're the New York City Disc Golf Association everywhere. We'd love to connect with any clubs or people from wherever. And we already have been since installing the course. So that's something we're so happy to do.
Yeah. Because you guys are on Instagram making posts out there.
Yeah.
It's just NYCDGA.
NYCDGA. And then our website's NYCDGA.org.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll definitely
Perfect.
throw that in the show notes. So if you're listening, wherever you're listening, if you're on YouTube, that'll be in the description. Click that below. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. Like we said so many times, like thank you for what you're doing to grow the sport in a city that needs it and that we truly believe. And all of us sitting right here, we're talking on a Tuesday night at 9 o'clock about frisbees and like because we care and it's changed our lives for the better. So it's super cool what you guys are doing. It's amazing.
And thank you both as well for amplifying stories and just being such a staple member of the disc golf community. A big fan of the podcast and all the different guests you bring on kind of showcase the different colors of disc golf. So you are absolutely a reason for that growth as well.
Awesome. Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, before we let you go, one last question. We're 3 weeks out till the World Championships, which is crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous. Who's winning Worlds and why? MPO first. Hoyle, what you got?
So I posted some hot takes at the start of the season in our Discord, which
Okay.
some of my hot takes have been right. I predicted James Proctor and Barella, and then I also said Ezra Robinson were all going to win their first tour.
Okay.
So I've got 2 of the 3 there.
2 out of the 3.
Ezra's been close. We got it. We got the
I
Georgia boy making it
know. I
happen.
was hoping
playing
he would
well.
get that putt. Where did Gannon beat him? Was that
It
Portland?
was yeah.
I think so.
So we got close there. But all that to say, my hot take at the start of the season was that Isaac Robinson was going to go back-to-back because London Tech being more of a woodsy course.
Yeah. I like it.
Up at the back end of the season. Like I was feeling a little doubtful the first half, but he's been strong the last few weeks. So
She was podium finish at a European Open.
Yeah.
Fourth. He got fourth at European Open. Yeah.
So I'm optimistic that maybe my pick wasn't the worst pick in the world.
He's already loving the Georgia boys. Come on, bring him down. Here. I like this guy. Bender, what you got? Who's winning Worlds?
You know, I haven't been following as closely this season, but I gotta put the energy out there that Paul Macbeth is gonna win this year.
Ooh, 7 times.
You know, he did so much for us, so I'm gonna manifest the Paul Macbeth win this year.
I mean, it is his course, so he should.
It's his course. It's Worlds, which he turns it on. I could see it. I mean, he's heating up in the right way.
Yeah, but on the FPO, it is so hard not to pick Kristen.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. Like, who wins if it's not Kristen? Like, Missy's got a strong chance as always. Like, Owen could always step up and win it.
Yes.
If Evelina's hitting her putts, like she could win it. Maybe Silva Saarinen, like she's been hot here lately. So you never know, but it's just so hard to not pick Kristen, I feel like.
For sure.
Yeah.
Bender, who you got?
Basic answer again, but I gotta root for Missy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. On that wood style course, I feel like that's a good pick. I feel like that's definitely a good pick. To have Missy in there. So we'll see how it plays for the forehand for Owen. But yeah, good takes. I like it. Good takes. Thank you so much for joining us. It's crazy the fact that you just met him on the course. Like that's the most disc golf thing ever. Like that's
so much though. You're right.
So disc golf.
Yeah, it is.
Love
it is.
Heck yeah. Well, appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us. And we'll have all the links to the show notes to everything you guys are doing in New York City. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, whatever you got, it'll be in the description. If you're on YouTube, definitely click that below as well. Also to Populous, got some sweet merch, everything they're doing for New York City as well. I'll definitely be picking up a shirt. Those things are fire. Thanks y'all for joining us. We appreciate y'all. And we'll see you and talk to you sometime real soon, y'all. Thanks, y'all.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Such an honor to have Alex and Alex. We should do the same name. We should just be Zach and Zach. It's way easier. I mean, Mitch and Mitch, some of them, but mostly Zach and Zach. Man, I think the takeaway there is literally like we were saying, action. You can do anything. They're taking something that New York City has never ever heard of and making it accessible with meetups with 2 people to now 50 people to now getting a foundation involved. Like the arc of what they've accomplished is crazy. And it all started with someone going, I like disc golf. I know there's got to be other people that like this thing too. And how do I make that happen? So, I mean, I'm so encouraged and my jaw literally hurts from smiling so much of just the stories and the excitement of everything they've been able to accomplish.
Yeah, it's really encouraging. I think that's the big thing is like you could get so caught up in, oh, it's New York City. There's so many people. It's like so daunting. How do I get all of those people connected? And you don't have to. You just need one. You
Mhm.
just need a couple bites, and all of a sudden the snowball starts to form. So I love it. Alex, thank you both so much. I
Seriously.
honestly look forward to seeing you both again in Georgia and New York playing
Mhm.
some frisbees.
Heck yeah. Well, yeah, I definitely want to get up to New York City sometime in the spring. I'm planning on it. So hopefully I can connect with Bender and make it happen to get up there. And I want to check out that brewery. The other half sounds
Oh, other half.
amazing.
Amazing.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I can't wait. It's going to be good. Well, heading into immediately into an Elite Plus event here at Ledgestone, our very own Cole Redolin winning this tournament last year, his first ever Disc Golf Pro Tour win. I mean, it's going to be an amazing event, and I'm pretty shocked on the scheduling. We knew it was coming. We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be fast, and it's a mega stacked, August and September. But I didn't know it until it was already here that we literally have Worlds in 3 weeks as well. So I don't even I can't even comprehend. And we didn't mention this earlier. I want to shout this out real quick. Andrew Miranda of Team DGA on lead card, not one, but 2 rounds at the European Open. What?
Huge.
Freaking insane.
It was going
showing there.
off.
His putter was so hot. Brian was like freaking losing his mind over Miranda's putt.
It was so beautiful, man.
So freaking cool. I loved watching that. So shout out to you, Drew. You deserved it. And man, so cool to see. But
it makes me wonder though, Ledgestone specifically, are any of the guys who were out in Europe able to get back, get rested, and get prepped for these new courses?
I mean, they'll be back, but there ain't no way they're gonna feel rested. Like there's no
That's
chance.
my thought, right? Like I'd be exhausted still. So I'm wondering if the guys who stayed and played like the Kansas City Wide Open have a leg up on the competition because they are still here and they haven't been flying hours and hours.
Yeah, I was texting with Cole last week. We were talking about some stuff, and he was saying he's just been resting, being at home, spending time, like doing that. So, I mean, you got guys like that are taking their time to reset. I just pulled up the page here of the DGPT Plus event of Ledgestone, and my boy Danny Beauchamp qualified. He's at the top there. So, shout out to you, Danny. But who's playing this event? We got everybody, dude.
Yeah.
Gannonburg, Calvin. I don't see Ricky.
Ricky's not on the Ledgestone list. Maybe he's taking
a break. I mean, he won 2 out of 3. Bro can take a break. But the fact that he's missing an Elite Plus is pretty surprising. He's not on this list that I'm seeing right now.
He's not signed up. His next event is Idlewild.
Okay. So I mean, there's one that's definitely, making happen. We knew Calvin was going to play it. Brother flew to Sweden, back to Des Moines, and then back there. There's nothing Calvin won't do. So I think I'd love to see, of course, we'd love to see Cole be able to take it down back to back in years. And I think it's definitely possible. His game looks good. He's feeling confident. But I'm going to give it to Calvin. I think Calvin is finally going to kind of break the slump. He's been a little bit, like I said, he's been a little bit in a slump. He hadn't been playing very well, but I think there's a chance that he pops off and he plays well in these courses. And I'm going to give it to Calvin heading into Ledgestone.
I think I'm going to pull a wild card here and maybe take a note out of Hoyle's book and say that Ezra Robinson gets his first win, first Elite Series win.
Okay. And I mean, it's crazy to see the Robinson brothers both at 1041 rated. Like they are literally equal in rating now, which is so ridiculous. And they're in the top 6 there of ratings heading into this tournament with Gannon leading the charge. I think there's a chance that Gannon just takes over and wins back-to-back events. I think I'd like to see Barella catch fire because he, winning Des Moines in the way that he did and pushing so hard that final round, but then really just not having the greatest time in Europe. Really, honestly, just didn't perform like we expected. So hoping that he can do that on the FPO side. Man, I think Missy's going to continue. She's won this event, 2-3 times now? I don't even know off the top of my head. She's plays this event so well. These courses suit her game incredibly, and I think it's hard not to pick Missy Gannon heading into Ledgestone.
Yeah, if it's not Missy, I would do I'd pick honestly like an Ella Hansen after her performance at President's Cup, getting an upset against Kristen, going head to head. like, why not?
Yeah,
You
why
know?
not? Yeah, she didn't have the best European swing when it comes to finishes and stuff, but I think also just spent so much time over there, going to come back and just get after it. So, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But Ledgestone is next. And then right after that, we have the Idlewild. And then literally like the next weekend, Idlewild. Then we finally get a breath. Couple weeks here heading into then
Worlds.
Great Lakes at Worlds, which is crazy. Like, I was going to say break, but no, we head into a major. Goodness. And then right after that, we go to DGLO. I mean, there's no stopping here. Like from August 1st, which is the beginning of Ledgestone, to the finale of the DGPT championship is like a month and a half, not even.
Dude, it's wild.
And we have Idlewild, Worlds, DGLO, Green Mountain Championship, MVP, USDGC, then Pro Tour Championship. Like,
I feel like the season started and was like ramping pretty quickly. And I don't know, maybe there's been a little like lull here and there, but now it's just like full steam ahead.
Oh, for sure.
We've got all the coal in the engine right now, and it's just burning.
We're burning, baby. And honestly, we're going to see burnout. I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see. Injuries? I don't think we're going to see multiple players that are going to win back to back, or one player is not going to win multiple. I don't think that's going to happen.
That'd be really hard to
with
do.
The way that the schedule is happening. And I think we might see some people drop out of some events and go, I don't really need to play, DGLO because I know I'm going to play GMC that's worth more points. So these things, whatever it is, like I think that's going to happen some too. And we've talked about that for sure in, the future of our sport and players picking and choosing and not feeling like they have to play every single event. And when you're stacking the calendar the way that this is, it's hard not to feel that way.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Ledgestone coming up. Going to be an awesome time. I really enjoy it. It's going to suck not having it at 9 a.m. I'm going to miss that for sure.
Yeah.
But it'll be nice to be able to actually watch FPO footage and coverage
live. Watch it live is nice. Yeah. I agree.
That'll be good. Man, what an episode. Thank you again to Alex and everything you guys have done in the New York City area. Excited to be able to hang out with Hoyle when he moves here by the end of the year. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Man.
And yeah, Europe is awesome. It's incredible. They win, on the best events of the year. We look forward to it every year. So thanks for hanging with us this long. If you are not following us at Park Podcast and you lasted this long, you probably are, because that's ridiculous. We've talked for a long time. But we love you. And thanks for hanging with us. Definitely like and subscribe here at UT with DGA. And Zach, you want to sign us off like you always do, brother?
Peace, love, and disc golf, everybody.
We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.